Have you just started running? If you have, then you're in the right place. Here are my top tips for beginner runners to keep you running, make sure you're having fun, and stay injury free without breaking the bank. Okay guys, so my first top tip, if you've just started running, is to consider where you're going to go with it. Are you aiming to do a 5k? Are you aiming to do a park run? Have you done no running at all? Have you literally just got up off the couch? You're aiming to do a couch to 5k, something like that. What is the purpose of the running you're doing? Is it to keep fit, maybe lose some weight, just for mindfulness really, to give you peace of mind, to help relieve stress or anxiety? If you're going to aim for a 5k, what I would recommend it really is to utilize one of those apps that you constantly find on app stores, Couch to 5k. Do that really rigidly, stick to it, stick to the scheduled, and you will get there. I started out literally with one of those apps. In terms of other employment that I do, I need to keep relatively fit. I need to be on my feet for 2.5, 3 hours at a time, sometimes quite physical. I'm in a group, I'm in a band, so I need to be able to stand up and stay on my feet for that sort of length of time without any problems. So when I got into running, I found that was a real advantage. It really helped me. Working on that, staying on your feet, making sure you're keeping a certain number of steps a day, just being active is gonna help your running. It doesn't matter, guys, what time you complete that 5k and when you first do it. It doesn't matter. It's all about getting out there, being on your feet, getting your whole body working, getting your lungs working, getting the heart going, and just being out there and enjoying it. That's what running's all about. There's some elite runners out there. They can run incredible times over all sorts of distances. From my point of view, that's something I'm never going to do. I just love getting out there, challenging myself. So it's all about challenging yourself. You're not pitting yourself against other people. You're not trying to be the best, as it were. Just getting out there and enjoying yourself and utilizing the body that you've been given. Once you've really ascertained as to why you're going out there and what you aim to do with your running, one of the big things you need to make sure is that you've got a good pair of running shoes. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to cost you the earth. There are running shoes from all different types of manufacturers, brand names. Some of them are going to be better than others for you. The first thing that I would really consider doing if you're going to be running on a regular basis is getting your running gait analysed. What that basically means is that you can go to a running store where they sell a host of running shoes, and they'll be able to analyse your running gait. So what that is basically your gait cycle as you run. Some people may have slight inaccuracies in their cycle. Mine is less than perfect, I know it. From watching slow-mo footage of myself back on the GoPro, I know that I haven't got a perfect running gait. How consistent is that contact of your feet onto the ground? They may go inwards or outwards. It's a term called pronation. So depending on how your foot kind of falls and makes contact with the ground, you may overpronate or underpronate, or in the best possible scenario, you may have very even contact with the ground. I'm able to look at neutral shoes, so it does really open up a world of different running shoes that I can utilise. If you do over or underpronate, you can look for some more stability-based training shoes, which will help to compensate for that and give you a bit of extra support, mainly around that heel area and sometimes towards the arch as well. Certain trainers have a lot more support materials built up around those areas to help stop that over or underpronation. Having a good pair of running shoes, guys, is really important if you want to go out running regularly. It's going to make the whole experience of running more enjoyable for you. I think, well, in training shoes, the majority of time, you do actually get what you pay for. So if you're able to perhaps go a little bit higher in terms of budget than you thought you might be able to, do that. It's going to make your running more enjoyable. I'm not saying go out and spend mega bucks on a pair of Vaporflies or something. Don't do that if you can't afford it. Go for something that's affordable for you, but it's going to do the job. Don't scrimp on that if you can. It's an important thing. It's going to help you enjoy your running. So once you've ascertained why you're running, what the purpose is of the running that you're going to do, you've got to start thinking about the durations. If you're going to be running a 5k, you can get away with a sort of more multi-purpose style running shoe. Something like the Nike Pegasus 35 is ideal for that. It's a great running shoe. It's got lots of cushioning. It's not going to be quite so good in terms of pushing the pace, but the cushioning's there. It's a hard wearing shoe. You're going to get lots of miles out of it. I've got over 250 miles for the very first pair that I had started to wear away. But the thing you really need to consider there is the cushioning. That starts to go much sooner than the outsole. Don't look at the outsole of your shoe and judge the cushioning from that. The outsole is going to wear much later than the cushioning will start to disappear. So please do be aware of that. It will happen over time, and if you're putting in lots of miles eventually, then that's going to be something that you need to consider. If you're aiming for something like a 10k or even like a half marathon or a marathon, I really would recommend spending a little bit more on a running shoe if you can. Certainly if it's a half marathon or marathon you're aiming for, you're going to really need that cushioning. You're going to need something of considerable quality to make it through those miles. 26.2 miles is a long way. If you're going to be pounding the road, pounding the pavement in a pair of shoes which really doesn't have adequate cushioning, then you're opening yourself up for injury and you're just not going to enjoy the experience. So as you progress through your running journey, if you've started to do some 5Ks, some park runs, you may have even done a couple of local events, it might be that you want to start to introduce other training shoes into your rotation, as it were. So you might have something that's more daily trainer, like we discussed, like the Pegasus 35, for example. And then you might want something else for perhaps doing some faster speed work, some tempo runs, some longer runs. You might want something that you can use for a race. So you can then start to introduce other shoes into that rotation, so you're not just using the same trainer over and over again. Obviously, if you do that, the cushioning within that trainer is going to start to wear out, the outsole is going to start to wear out, and the structure of the shoe is going to start to loosen and start to deteriorate quicker than if you've got a selection of shoes that you can utilize in a rotation basis. Another tip for you involves the actual gear you're going to use, the stuff you're going to be wearing when you're going out running. Certainly from my prior experiences, I purchased some sort of cheaper running gear. I really struggle when I get too hot. It did start to become a bit of a problem. I've just really started to get agitated and uncomfortable during a run. That's the last thing you want. I think being comfortable while you're running in the stuff that you've got is the most important thing. Now, you could be comfortable wearing something very expensive, something very cheap, something somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter. So you need to be sure that you're wearing stuff that you are comfortable in when getting out there running. There's all sorts of running conditions that you might be exposed to when you're out there racing around your town. My big tip is go and download yourself a weather app. Start checking the weather. If you know when you're going to be running, if there's a certain sort of block of time during the day, check out the weather. What's it going to be like? That's really going to help you ensure that you have the right gear on, that you're going to be prepared. The elements aren't going to throw something at you that is going to make you feel uncomfortable and just generally a little bit miserable and not enjoy the run that you're doing. And my last tip is really to make sure that you log what you're doing. So keep a record of all the runs that you're doing. It's really great to see progress within your running. So if you're logging your stuff on Strava or perhaps Garmin's application, you'll be able to start to see improvement. That's very important. It's going to give you a boost of confidence. It's going to show you that all that effort that you're putting in on a daily basis is actually going towards something. Participating in a local park run could be a really good way of doing that. Obviously with parkrun, you've got your barcode. When you finish, you get a token. All your times will then be logged. It's a really great thing to do on a Saturday morning, getting up nice and early. Parkruns typically start at 9 a.m. There's one everywhere, so no excuse. There's always one nearby that you can get to in the local area. And your times will be logged and you can see that progression, see that improvement. Plus the fact you're out there meeting new people, meeting other runners. There's always someone that's going to be slower than you. There's always someone that's going to be faster than you. Just don't worry about that, guys, at a parkrun. It's all about having fun. You can log those times, and it feels really great, you know, when you get in, trim a few seconds of time off of your personal best on that course. Okay guys, I hope this has been helpful for you beginner runners. Remember to get out there, have fun, try and stay injury free as possible, and enjoy yourselves. I've got new running content all the time, guys, so please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. Thumbs up and like any of the videos you've particularly enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you.